let's find out if my R8 is a peach or a lemon.
I have found a major problem, slightly concerning.
Hello and welcome back to the Volks Wizard channel, and welcome back to the channel my 2014 Audi R8 V8 Spyder, which I've owned now for just under 3 months. In that time, contrary to expectations, it hasn't gone wrong. I haven't had to claim on the warranty that came with the car, but to be perfectly honest, I haven't had it up in the air and given it a good going over, which is what you need to do with cars like these. So we're going to put that right today, thanks to the guys here at APS in Brackley, and it does need to be done today because I've been a bit lax getting this done, and the 3-month warranty that came with the car actually runs out tomorrow. But at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you a little trade secret that means whenever you buy a car from a dealer, you actually get 6-month warranty as part of the deal. But first, let's find out if my R8 is a peach or a lemon. Now, this is Nathan from APS who's going to do the work on my car today.
Good morning.
I like to think of Nathan as the most experienced Volkswagen Audi technician in the country, but you're probably too modest to agree with me. But you've been around, haven't you? How many years have you had in the trade?
33 years.
And the most memorable fact about Nathan is that he used to train people at Volkswagen about the intricacies of the R32 engine. Is that right? That sounds crazy.
Yeah. Back in the day when they had an early problem with some sprockets and bits and pieces in the engines, I had to go and show some of the techs how to retime all the engines and bits and pieces up because they'd never had them apart. But obviously, because we were modifying them,
AMD and Vista.
AMD and Vista, that we had the head start on them really.
So, what are you going to do today to my car?
Today we're going to bring it in. We're going to do an oil service and bits and pieces, and do the full inspection, which will basically look at all the brakes, dampers, all the chassis points. R8s do suffer with an issue on the front dampers. Sometimes they crack on the chassis legs where they go in, so that's the most important bit to check.
Okay.
So that'd be the sort of thing we'll be looking at today, but we'll just make sure it's all good and got no oil leaks and all the other bits and pieces. And
is this one of the most complicated oil changes you do on a regular basis on the R8 V8?
Yeah, definitely on this setup, because they've got a dry sump system. So you have to, there is a certain procedure that you go through to change the oil. It's not just a case of draining it out and filling it back up. There is a procedure you have to go through, otherwise you'll just overfill the engine on initial startup.
That's not good.
No.
So, as well as finding out if my R8 is a peach or a lemon, we will give you some DIY guidance on how to do an oil change, but to be honest, it's such a complicated procedure, you'd have to be very brave to do it on your driveway. Anyway, let's get the car in the workshop and yeah, fingers crossed.
Yes, let's go.
Okay, the car's in the workshop and Nathan's got the oil filter out. It sits down there, 32mm socket. It's much like the one on a Golf you've seen before, where it fits into a plastic cap, 25 Newton meters torque to do it up. It's marked on there. When you drain, you need to pull this out and release this from the housing. That lets the oil in the housing drain, and that's where we are now. That's going well. These are the parts, by the way. Oil filter is 079198-405E. And then we've got 3 washers and 3 plugs. So there are actually 4 plugs, one of them that we have to reuse. Hopefully you can see that part number on there. And that's the washers. But I'll put all that in the description of the video.
So this is very similar to the Audi S4 engine and the RS4 engines as well. I have this set up.
Which era?
Sorry?
The V8s.
The V8s, and
right.
I have this set up. That's all in, ready to go.
Brilliant.
I always put them in by hand to start with, to make sure you haven't got it cross-threaded. And you can also feel, as you turn the top screw, you can then feel the oil filter itself locate back into that hole that we were saying about. It sort of comes round and it drops back in.
I never thought about that. That's a small one.
Small torque wrench, yeah.
1/4 inch?
1/4 inch, yeah.
Wow.
Because this is what I'm saying, if you go to so that's a 1/4 inch. If you use a 3/8 inch, look at the length difference. That'll start at 30 Newton meters, that one finishes at 30 meters. So you're a better feel for a smaller.
What brand are they?
Snap-on.
Of course. They're still the best?
Yeah.
Lifetime guarantee still?
Ish.
Like everything?
Yeah.
Like Volkswagen's anti-corrosion warranty?
Ish. Basic stuff, yes. More complicated stuff, no. So there we go. It's done up perfectly, boy.
There you go, you can hear the click. Bingo. So this is the oil tank.
That's the oil tank, yep.
Okay. Yeah, a bit different to other Audis then.
Yeah.
Okay, now Nathan's going to take the under tray off. To do that, you have to take these air scoops off, which are often battered or missing, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
So we're quite lucky on these, they're all right. And so we've got a metal tray here underneath the gearbox, I guess that is. Or...
That is the gearbox, yeah.
Yeah, so on the R8, like a Boxster, but not like a 911, we have gearbox at the back. Engine somewhere here, that's actually the sump there. Prop shaft there going to the front of the car. And there are a few little things about the R8 that make this job potentially troublesome, don't they? Taking the trays off.
Yes, yeah.
So we'll see how we get on.
As you know, I always undo them with a ratchet, not a gun. Because it's the guns not that do the damage. People put them back in with guns and they end up over-tightening them.
While Nathan's doing that, we'll just have a quick look at the jacking points. So this is an aluminium structure, so it's not as prone to deformation as, say, a steel one, but there are still jacking points here marked by these circles. That's on the back. And on the front, it's not marked, but when you know, you have to come in and not go as far as this line, and there's a whole solid bit of aluminium there. That's the front diff, and that's the front splitter, which is surprisingly good, but these aren't low cars. Do you hate doing these, or are you just grateful for doing something a bit different?
They're okay. They're just time consuming from the point of view of all the undertrays fixings to get them all out, and they're all individually, so they're not all the same bolts. So you have to learn them so you know where you're putting them back in.
So can you tell which ones are in the right place?
Yeah.
What, if they've been swapped around?
You can, yeah. I'll show you an example. If you look at this bolt here, you can see it's shouldered.
Yep.
Whereas a lot of people don't tend to put them back in the right place, and the reason it's shouldered is because it's space in the rear bumper to that under tray.
Right. Yeah. Okay. It's a sandwich.
Yeah. So there has to be. So it takes up the gap. The only thing with an R8, you should really garage store them. I think Audi, they sort of sold it as a sports car, but everyday sports car. So people tend to think it could be used in that way, but it should really be garage like you would a Ferrari of the same, or a Lamborghini.
Or a Lamborghini. How much labour did you say it was?
To do an oil change on an R8, you're looking about 2 to 2.5 hours, depending on what setup it's got in terms of under trays and bits and pieces, and how they come apart.
What would it normally be on, say, that GTD?
Between an hour and a half.
Okay, so it's not massively more.
It puts about an hour on for the under trays, really.
What do you have, Mark 4 R32 or Mark 5?
In terms of a car and the way it drives and bits and pieces, a Mark 5. But in terms of enthusiasm, enthusiastic car, I'd go with a Mark 4 because it's actually the original one.
Yeah, take a bit of that.
But the Mark 5 definitely is, other than the Mark 2 Golf, I'd say the best handling Golf they made.
R8 V8 or R8 V10?
Oh, V10, personally.
I know you tell me the truth.
The V10 sounds nicer, if I'm honest, at the road.
Just sounds like an RS3 though.
So yeah, the V10 would be my choice. V10 manual. One under tray down. First under tray down.
Right, and still can't see much though, can we?
Not at the moment, no. So the reason we have to take that under tray down so we can get onto to drain the reservoir.
Right, the tank we saw up there,
Yeah,
the aluminium.
yeah.
Right.
And then also it allows us to inspect the vehicle in bits and pieces.
I just love all the aluminium extrusions. That's aluminium.
So this is when we were saying about the problem with the undertray. So that's what we're talking about. That's a rivet into the actual alley. And then if you do them with a gun and undo them with a gun without breaking the bolt, it pulls the rivet out.
Nightmare. Don't see many of those these days, do you? I bet you do though, actually.
We had 2 in yesterday.
Okay. Never see them on the roads though. Okay then, RS3 of that generation or TTRS of that generation?
RS3. RS3
you didn't have to think about
RS3 of any generation.
Mark II Golf GTI 8 valve or 16 valve?
16 valve. Modified.
Okay. Well,
definitely.
You can look after all the faults they're going to get. An 8 valve won't at 200,000 miles, can't you?
16 valves are okay.
S4, petrol or diesel, B9 or B9 facelift?
Petrol.
Why?
Because the diesel engine's so unreliable.
Now you tell me after selling me one.
Sorry?
Now you tell me after selling me one.
Or the emission control.
Yeah, there is a lot going on with that S4.
The only thing I would recommend, if you're going to buy a diesel, you have to make sure you're doing the mileage.
Yeah.
If you're not doing the mileage, then petrol. If you're doing the mileage, diesel.
It's a good point. Because a lot of the S4s on the market, diesels, they're like 20,000 miles in 4 years.
Yeah, well, they will suffer with lots of emission control faults.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people who saw the S4 TDI collection video from last week mentioned 3 litre V6 TDI timing chain problems.
Yep.
Is that a big issue?
Definitely the early V6 3 litre engines, definitely.
Yeah. Up to about when? B9A4?
Yeah, but the issue is the same on it. If you're not using the correct oil and not do it, and if you're going on the 2-year service plan, that's the problem, not the actual engine as such. You know, it's a chain-driven engine. It's designed to have fresh oil.
I always imagine,
regardless of mileage.
I always imagine the engineers saying that, but the marketing department saying, well,
absolutely.
We don't want it to last forever, guys.
Well, let's be honest, the 2-year service plan for any manufacturer is purely and simply for the lease market.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's come off without you swearing, so that's...
No, that's all good.
Are you looking for staining?
Yeah.
Is that water or...
That's just water. That's all water where it collects.
Yeah, it hasn't really stopped raining since I bought the car. Ever done an aircon pump on these? Because they're notoriously...
Yeah, I've done the aircon and the power steering. It's on your particular engine. I will show you. So if you look through there, that's your power steering pump there.
Oh, yeah.
And then this is geared off the engine. So that goes into the engine. So that's on an O-ring. And that, in the early R8s, this is one of the recalls on the oil seals because they used to leak.
Right. Is that dry?
That's dry. That's absolutely fine. Nothing to worry about. These are the oil pipes that everyone...
Yeah.
These can leak. And then you've got your oil cooler here.
Yes, which can decide to leak as well.
These can, yeah. These can be a leak as well. The other thing is to always check on R8s is the auxiliary belt.
Right. Yeah, you never really think about these.
No, because you don't really see them.
Yeah.
And again, you need a special tool to turn the engines over on these, and you have to turn the engines over to set the belt tension. So a lot of people avoid them.
Yeah.
Because they haven't got the tool to do the job.
What's that line in the middle?
What's that? Sorry.
There's a line in the middle of the belt.
That's just because obviously you've got a...
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not making contact on that roller.
No. Which is a good. You can then you can judge the wear of the belt then, and it's fine.
Okay. Porsche make a big fuss about drive belts, but Audi don't. What's the prop doing then? Does it go through to the side of the engine or through the engine?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously bolts on there.
Yeah.
And then it goes. Do you see? You can see the shaft come through here.
Right.
And then goes into the gearbox that way.
So that's there, and then to there, and then around there.
Yeah. Got the models with the 0.8 6 transmission,
right.
which is different to your one.
Okay.
These are similar. That's the same setup, but it's where the oil reservoir is. So you have a different oil reservoir on that setup.
Yeah, on the side.
Yeah. So that would be underneath in the back corner here.
Yeah, I've seen
and that's where the reservoir would normally go over because it's got the different gearbox. Your reservoir is slightly different, so hence the reason why we drain the reservoir in a different place. So the OBZ transmission. So if we go to that one, which is what your vehicle is, similar, if not the same, on that set of drain plugs. And then this one here, which is the one that's on that, what was just looking at, that oil pipe that comes down, that is the fourth bung we replace.
I don't think my manual had that.
No, that's what I was still double checking to make sure, because when you go back underneath there's lots of plugs and they all look like the same. But if you don't check, sometimes they're coolant. So you have to make sure, even though I've done lots and lots of R8s, even I still check.
Good idea.
To make sure that we're not taking out the wrong bung. We've got an arrow there.
Oh, it's got an arrow as well.
There, an arrow there. They've only started putting them on the later, so the early R8s didn't have an arrow at all. You had to literally go and find them.
There's so many other bolts sticking out of the sump.
So for example here, you get confused and take that one out by mistake. The V10s are even more, they have lots of these all over it. And there's little jackets for the coolant, oil and all sorts. So you could get yourself into a bit of a pickle if you're not careful.
And the fourth one's then on the silver.
The fourth one is just on that pipe there. When was the last oil service?
Could have been about 18 months, but not that many miles ago, a few thousand.
So it's had a, if you smell, it smells it's got quite a lot of fuel contamination.
Oh, right, from cold starts?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's draining. The very important question for R8 owners: S-tronic, dual clutch gearbox like on this car, or the gated manual? What would you go for?
Gated manual. Just it's a more purist drive. Unfortunately, they've rounded it off inside. So, I don't know if you want to film this, but it's the only option.
Right, because it's all right to film it. You've had to deal with some of the mechanics bodge, so you're using a mole grip on it, which will bite into the aluminium of it, and there it goes. I bet that's the official tool.
That probably, yeah. Obviously, that's why we always supply new ones. So we're just talking that up to 10 Newton meters. Just a final check on these ones.
Okay, so that's the oil drain done then. So
oil drain's done.
So what's next?
Drop it down and put some oil in.
Where'd you get this from? NASA?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's a slow fill funnel.
Okay. And why is that important?
So you don't spill the oil as it's going in.
That's quite important, especially when the exhaust is down there.
Exactly. We always spend time cleaning up.
So this is Quantum, which, if you know that it's genuine Volkswagen oil from Volkswagen Group UK. It's made by Fush, though, up north, I think. Used to be Castrol, but Fush is great. Going 530, long life 3, same as a bloody Golf GTD, which now left the workshop.
Pretty much goes in everything, long life 3. Well, the latest generation stuff's a 020, but...
This is Volkswagen 504 and 507 approved. Okay, so how much have you got in there?
I was going to put 5 litres in to start with.
Okay.
But it takes 7 on the... So you put 7 in, start it, run it for 30 seconds, and then you put the last 3 litres in.
Okay, so it's all right to run it with...
Yeah, but you obviously only at idle.
Yep. So it's worth just mentioning the dipstick, because it's not like a min-max one you get on a normal car. We've got fill and don't fill. Don't know if you can see that. So what we've got there, is that the divider there between fill and don't fill?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, it's nice and easy for R8 owners. If, when you dip it, after going through the quite long procedure, it's in the fill zone, you get one of those small 1 litre bottles and you pour it in. Simple as that. And it takes it into the don't fill. When it's back down into fill, you put another litre in. So where are we now? We're
10 litres in now. So what we need to do now is we go up the road, get the engine temperature up to 100 degrees, between 100 and 110. That will make sure that all the oil's where it should be around the engine and all the coolers. We bring it back in, we let it idle for two minutes. key it off, let it rest for 2 minutes, and then we check. And I'd imagine normally we have to put about another ½ litre in.
Okay.
So we go from there.
But a bit more checking to do on the car, because we haven't actually looked at the front end of it at all.
No, we've got to check the car over now, put the undertrays back on,
Yeah.
and then give it a road test, and bring it back in and do the final oil level check. The brakes on this one are the pad life on these start very thin anyway.
Right.
So this brake pad at the moment is about 40% worn.
Okay.
So it's half worn.
Yep.
Which is fine. These also have a separate handbrake system, which is here.
Yeah.
These very rarely wear out because obviously they're only literally clamping. They're not actually doing anything when you put your foot on the foot brake at all. They're just there as a holding mechanism. They very rarely fail.
Do you think these are probably original?
Yeah, they will be original. Yeah, they look original.
Okay. Disc
is okay.
A bit of corrosion on it, hasn't it?
It's in keeping with the mileage and age of the vehicle. Yes, it's a good bit of corrosion. Could probably do, if I'm honest, a bit more harder braking by the owner, just to clear the brakes off every now and then.
For you, I'll do that specially.
I'm now checking the top mount on the rear suspension, which all looks fine. We also check to make sure there's no misting or leaks on the seal, which is absolutely fine. I'm just going to give it a quick check. The arms are not got any play in them. All good.
So you don't tend to get wheel bearing problems on these much, do you?
No.
Would that show a wheel bearing as well?
Possibly, but in modern wheel bearings are incomplete. They very rarely show play anymore anyway. It's just noise.
So what are you feeling for when you do that?
I'm feeling for to make sure that your bushes in your arms have not got play, and just making sure that the top mount and the damper is okay, where it's got like a bush in the top of the damper.
So you can see that move just by...
Well, you can feel it. If there was, when I was doing that, you could feel a knock, or you'd feel excessive movement, and
it's a very quiet car.
Yeah.
As you'll find out if you drive it on the estate road here, because it's a bit rippled in places.
Yeah. So again, just checking to make sure we've got no signs of weeping, which we haven't. The pads are actually in very good condition.
Do you reckon the backs get more loading on this car with the weight at the back of it? Or?
Possibly no. I'd say they're pretty balanced, if I'm honest. They tend to wear the brakes out at the same rate. Just go on the other side, check the drop link on the roll bar. Which is fine. Absolutely fine. Give the tyre a spin, make sure we've got no nails or bulges or slices. Tread pattern's good. All good. And just to check through the rec grills to make sure we've got no leaks and bits and pieces.
So that an aircon rad or a coolant?
This will be all the sort of different coolants. There'll be gearbox coolers in here, aircon coolers, radiator coolers. They're all.
No intercoolers though.
No, not on this one. Not turboed. Very common on the V8 S4s and RS4s.
What's that?
The radiators.
Right.
Very common on them.
Oh, of course, the auxiliary rads.
Yeah.
God, yeah, I've done those.
Yeah, I must have got it right on these, but the S4s and RS4s, very common for that.
And they're oil coolers.
And the oil cooler at the front. The final check I do on these is I just put them right up, then we can check the top chassis points.
So where the shock absorber mounts in the aluminium space frame, there can be cracks, but it's quite a rare thing, particularly on normally used cars. Did you say it was normally track cars?
It tends to be on the earlier ones and ones that have done a lot of heavy work, track cars and bits and pieces like that, they've gone up and down on the curbs. But it's something that you'd hear, so you'd bring it in with, a quite noisy suspension on the front end.
Yeah.
So there's no need to take the covers off on this one because you're not complaining of that noise.
It's remarkably quiet when it comes to rattles, especially for a convertible.
Yeah, I always just quickly check to make sure there's no crack starting, which this is absolutely fine. Now we're just going to put the engine covers back on.
All right.
And then go for a road test.
What's that, lithium grease?
It's a alley slip. So it's what you'd use on your when you put your brake pads and stuff in.
Yeah.
But it just protects the threads really. I tend to do it on these because 9 times out of 10, if I'm servicing R8, I'm normally servicing it forever, if that makes sense. So it's just to make my life easier next year, you know what I mean? When one of these pull out, it's just a nightmare, because it then becomes a rattle. Because you can't then get it out the shit, you know what I mean? It's just...
So you can't actually get the thread out that's loose?
No, so it's just... So if you've had a result like we have, and they've all come out, the least you can do is make sure they're going to come out again.
It's looking good. The car's on the ground. What are you doing now, Nathan?
Just topping up the screenwash. Going to put some screenwash in, but I have found a major problem, which is slightly concerning. We have got a broken washer filler cap, but lucky for us, we've got another one to go on. Not only that, it does have the Lamborghini symbol on there, just so, as does the originals.
So the only thing that's broken has got a Lamborghini parts logo on it.
Yeah.
No comments.
No comment from myself either. I always use that because it's the prep one for the fan jets and bits and pieces. If you don't use that, they clog the bottom bottle up, and then your fan jets don't work. So it's really, that is really important to make sure that the screen wash you use is fan jet compatible.
Right, yeah. It's easy to forget that. Fan jet, yeah. Brilliant. Okay, we're now, it's all clear, we're now on a test drive. You know all the danger spots on this estate.
I do. That was one of them.
Yeah. And this is a bit of a tight one. This is a suspension test facility, isn't it, here?
Yep.
So we've got a couple of big potholes and then a lot of rippling down here, so...
Just listening up knocks and bangs.
Yeah.
All seems smooth at the moment.
Anything in particular on R8s?
But on these particular ones, because you'll struggle to get these up to 100 degrees in the manual aspect of the automatic aspect of the gearbox.
Because it doesn't rev high enough.
Yeah, so you have to let it warm up to the sort of 90, the normal coolant 90.
Yeah.
And then I tend to put it into the manual aspect of the automatic to then better get the engine oil up to 100 degrees. Drives really nice, isn't it? Drives really nice.
That's good.
It's just got up to 100 degrees now, and we've had to hold that in fourth.
Oh right, through the roadworks and everything,
yeah.
So you'd want to get up to 7th at about probably 30 miles an hour, but you're using the manual shift to keep the rev higher.
Yeah.
To
get
That's
the
very interesting.
oil temp up.
I guess it's a big engine and it's designed for going fast on a hot day. It's got a lot of cooling capacity that makes it take ages to warm up today.
Yeah.
So now it's a tricky job of getting the oil level right. You can get it close or you can overfill it quite easily on these. So car's over 100 degrees. What are you doing now?
I've lit 100 degrees, it's idle for a minute, we've turned it off, we've left it a minute, and now we're going to check this is the final check on the level. So this should now be in the do not fill area, just slightly above, which is just there.
It's okay to be above it. You wouldn't want to be below it, would you?
No,
which is how it was when I got the car back from Audi, the old R8.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it's spot on. Yep, brilliant.
So that is the oil change all done.
So Nathan, have I bought a peach or a lemon?
You have brought yourself a peach.
Really?
Very good car.
That's really good news. Well, big thanks to Nathan and the team here at APS in Brackley. If you're looking for Volkswagen Group servicing and repairs, you know where to come. Obviously, I'm really relieved that I bought a good car. I knew that it drove okay, but like I said in the intro, it's really when you look underneath these cars, you really know what you've bought. In the intro, I also mentioned that the car came with a 3-month warranty, but actually if you buy any car from any dealer, you get 6 months warranty. And it's not a formal warranty. They don't give you, a certificate or anything like that, but consumer law in the UK means that a car has to be fit for purpose for at least 6 months from when you buy it. So even though they might give you a 3-month warranty on paper, consumer law protects you beyond that. And actually you might find the protection you get by consumer law is better than the warranty, which will often have loads of things not covered. So if you do have a problem and you're within the 6-month period and maybe the warranty doesn't cover the problem, then you should maybe contact your local trading standards, because it could potentially save you thousands of pounds. I'll put a link in the description of this video if you want to find out more information on that. As ever, guys, thanks for watching this Volkswizard video. Keep subscribing, keep commenting, and I'll see you for the next one very soon.